For texturing the Red River card, I chose AmbientCG.com's Planks 031A 2K PNG. In GIMP, the color texture was rotated 90 degrees. An alpha channel was added. The color balance was then adjusted to match the photogrammetry's model's texture by increasing the cyan to 5 and reducing the yellow to -5. The clone tool was used to remove seams and to cover up nail heads and blemishes. I also removed a seam between two of the boards to create a wider board. The file was then saved as the albedo file. Before exporting the UV map, I separated some of the island groups to facilitate texturing. The UV map was then exported from Blender by selecting the UV menu, then Export UV Layout. The fill opacity was set to 1. The UV map was then imported into Graphic for Mac, a vector drawing program by Picta Inc. This is my preferred vector graphics program. I also use Pixelmator Pro as my raster graphics program, that is, my paint program. The albedo file was imported into a new layer in Graphics for Mac. A copy was scaled so that the bottom of the box consisted of 4 boards. Except for the rim islands, additional copies of the texture were used to texture the remaining islands on the UV map. The buffalo hide tread of the wheels was textured on the UV map by extracting an image of the tread from a photo and then superimposing it on the UV map. Likewise, the buffalo hide on the side of the rims was extracted from a photo. However, PBR Painter's ability to multi-channel paint would be used to transfer the texture to the UV map by first creating a stencil in GIMP. As described in my YouTube video series, GIMP to Blender to Trainz, the photo of the wheel was imported into GIMP and the background removed. Having made the stencil for texturing the sides of the rims, we can now select the PBR Painter workspace to apply the texture. With the wheels mesh selected, we can delete the existing material and apply a new one. I'm going to call it Cart. To apply the rim texture, we need to add a multi-paint layer. I then like to select Auto Refresh Material. After selecting the multi-port icon and selecting 2048 by 2048 pixel size, we can locate and select the stencil. I have named it Wheel Rim Albedo. Note that the name must end in albedo, diffuse, or base color. One can then drag the stencil over the mesh with the right mouse button and size the stencil with Shift plus the right mouse button. The albedo texture can be painted on with the left mouse button. Applying texture can be viewed on the UV map in the image editor in the lower left-hand corner. By hovering the mouse cursor over the image editor window and selecting the Control key plus the spacebar to toggle the window to full screen. Under the Image Browser menu, select New Layer Base Color. The texture can now be saved by selecting the Image menu, then Save As. I named the file Rim Albedo PNG. I imported the file into Graphic for Mac and placed it on the UV map. With the addition of a background, this completed the albedo texture map, which was saved as albedo.png. Normal and roughness maps can be created in GIMP, as described in my YouTube video series, GIMP to Blender to Trainz. For the normal map, the albedo map is imported into GIMP, and the Filters menu, then Generic, and then Normal Map selected. The file was saved as normal.png. For the roughness map, the albedo map is again imported into GIMP, and Color menu, then Desaturate, and then Desaturate again selected. Then the Color menu and Levels are selected. The left black color stop is moved to the right to about 200 to make the image lighter, that is, more matte, and the file saved as roughness.png. In Blender's shading workspace, a new material can now be added, and the albedo, normal, and roughness maps just created imported. The meshes of the different parts of the cart can be combined, or the material added to each individually. Further texturing can be done to enhance the model. Here, for example, I added a black paint layer in PBR Painter and darkened the insides of the beams where a horse or ox might rub up against them.